I still remember that hard day. It floats around in the back of my head, a disastrous reminder of Mother Nature's power and capabilities. It was a perfect day for windsurfing. A beautiful, radiant sun, glistening waters of Sandy Hook, sparkling specks of light being absorbed by my eyes. Moderate wind, not much for some real windsurfing, but enough to cruise along and enjoy the day. Who could suspect what inevitable disaster lay ahead? The day wore on as the sky seemed to become increasingly calm and tranquil. The fluffy, white clouds that scattered across the sky earlier had drifted away, leaving this clear, empty sky. The wind got slower, died down, and the water became still. And just like that, we were motionless in the middle of the bay, stranded. As I floated out on the water along with others around me stuck as well, I looked out towards the ocean, and the sight was just baffling. A shade of black was swiftly moving towards us. I remember just freezing in horror as I realized I was experiencing the calm before the storm, and I was stuck right in the middle. Screams rose around me. Panic struck everyone as the wind suddenly struck my sail with such a force, knocking it out of my hands and plunging me into the water. I quickly scrambled back on my board before I could get away. Now that there were big waves going in every direction, I lifted the sail with all my might, and I instantly caught the 40-mile-per-hour wind. I was propelled towards the shore, and I remember thinking, this here is some real windsurfing. As I made my way to shore, I saw windsurfer noobs all around me, not enough man in them to take it like me, clutching onto their boards for dear life. I felt sympathy, but there's nothing that I could do. My priority was to get to my family, my most treasured value.
I never thought this would happen to me. It was something I always thought I would see in the movies. I can remember seeing the movie Twister and laughing when a cow got sucked into the tornado. But now, it doesn't strike me funny at all. I was just a tiny little bopper back then, maybe in 3rd or 4th grade. Didn't totally understand the world around me. Just excited for an action-packed day at the beach. My mom, brother, and I went to the ocean side, while my dad went to the bayside to do his windsurfing. With my boogie board strapped tightly to my wrist, I flopped around in the water, having the time of my life. The waves were usually calm that day. I remember this because my brother, Andrew, who was always a wimp with the big waves, actually decided to go in. I raced him wave after wave, beating him every time. It was around 1 o'clock when it happened. I was sitting in the water, eating my cherry-flavored Italian ice. I was tasting heavenly until a girl behind me screamed and startled me, causing my beautiful cherry Italian ice to pop out of my mouth into the water. I turned around ready to give a good beating when the sky caught my attention. No longer a clear blue sky, but now a cloud of black coming towards us. The wind picked up. Sounds of splashing suddenly emerged around me, as everyone rushed to swim out of the water. I could just barely hear the lifeguards whistle as the sound was smothered by the wind and screaming. Luckily, I wasn't too far out into the water, so I was able to run to my mom and my brother. By this point, the sky was a mixture of black and gray, and sand was flying everywhere, getting in my eyes, stinging my bare back. Under my boogie board to protect me, I turned around and made the shape of a tiny funnel. And I thought about the Wizard of Oz. I knew this was a tornado, and to my horror, caught a glimpse of unfortunate people who were too far out into the ocean to make it back to the shore in time before being sucked in further and further away. I ran with my mom and my brother back into the parking lot. But we had trouble finding a car because of how foggy and blurry it became. After going through the parking lot and getting hit in the head by several rocks, we found the car where my dad was struggling to load his board in the car. The back window was shattered. Something must have flown into it. We scrambled into the car and I hid under the back seat. That's really gonna protect me.